Su Hong has a system which makes his learning speed absurd. It takes him 1 second to learn C-rank martial arts, 2 seconds for master, 3 seconds for perfect SSS rank techniques. Su Hong looks at his stats and wonders how he's supposed to upgrade the guidance technique. He says he'll forget about that for now and cultivate the rest of the guidance techniques first. But the system suddenly shows a warning saying there are insufficient martial points. Su Hong sighs and says he'll figure out a way to earn more martial points later. He then sits down and begins meditating intensely. Aura flares all around him. Several hours later, clear changes begin happening inside his body. Thunder guidance technique reaches level 1. Water guidance technique reaches level 1. Earth guidance technique reaches level 1. Wind guidance technique reaches level 1. Soon, the spiritual energy of all 7 different attributes begins to repel one another. The situation becomes unstable. Su Hong realizes why President Wu said that genius who cultivated 7 guidance techniques was still stuck at rank 1 after decades. Although all 7 types of spiritual energy can exist within the body, only one attribute can be used at a time. If he tries to forcibly activate a second attribute, a violent explosion occurs inside him. As he continues experimenting, he realizes that 2 attributes will clash fiercely and eventually dissipate. However, he starts wondering about thunder and fire. Since they have relatively similar natures, he questions whether they truly can't be fused. He keeps trying again and again. The night passes as he pushes himself to the limit. The clash of energies grows more intense each time, but he refuses to give up. By dawn the next day, he is exhausted, but he mutters that he just needs a little more. Just a tiny bit more. Once again, he forces the energies together and angrily demands that they fuse. First, it seems like nothing works. He sighs, saying he tried all night. Then suddenly, something changes. He feels the fusion stabilize. Shocked, he realizes he actually succeeded. That means fusion is possible. Excited, he decides to go outside and test its power. Later, at Star City Citizen Martial Arts Plaza, there are many machines used to test strength. Su Hong stands in front of one of them in a fighting stance. He says he specifically chose a rank 3 combat power tester this time, hoping it won't break like the last one. He recalls that last time, using 50% of his strength produced 3,000 combat power. This time, he decides to try 30%. Even at 30%, the force is tremendous. When the result appears, his eyes widen in excitement. It exceeds 2,300. He calculates that 30% should have only been around 1,800, but it increased by 500. He realizes that the power of thunder alone is already this strong, and with fusion, it's even more terrifying. Then Su Hong wonders what would happen if he fused thunder and fire together. He activates the fusion and throws another punch. When the result appears, it breaks past 3,000. He looks at his hand in disbelief and says that relying purely on his physical body plus fused thunder and fire, even at only 30% strength, he can already surpass a rank 1 high-stage martial artist. And his current vitality is only 123 points. He can't help thinking how terrifying that is. He then gets even more excited and wonders what the power would look like if he could fuse all 7 attributes instead of just 2. The thought alone fills him with anticipation. He decides to go back and try fusing 3 attributes. Later, we see him exhausted again. He realizes that the difficulty of fusing 3 attributes is on a completely different level. He has rearranged and combined the 7 attributes multiple times, but there has been no progress at all. He starts wondering if increasing the guidance technique level might make fusion easier. He checks his guidance technique status again. Thunder guidance technique level 1. Heavenly flame guidance technique level 1. Water guidance technique level 1. Earth guidance technique level 1. Wind guidance technique level 1. He then reminds himself that tomorrow is the monthly exam and decides he should earn as many martial points as possible. The next day, at Star City High Number 1, a large crowd gathers on the field. The announcer stands in front of everyone and explains that this month's exam is different from the past. Because of the tense situation on the front lines, a genius training camp will now be held every year to select and intensively cultivate top talents. The announcer says the training camp will have abundant resources, including large amounts of martial arts techniques and pills, as well as grandmasters serving as instructors. The top 3 students in this monthly exam will qualify to participate in the training camp held by Star City. The students immediately get excited. One exclaims that it's a genius training camp. Another is shocked that there will be A-rank grandmasters as instructors and says their principal is only rank 3. Someone else shouts that they want to win. However, Su-hong feels confused. He wonders why President Wu told him he must take first place if the top 3 all get spots. Then the guy behind him whispers that Chun Shan and Li Tu have both already become rank 1 martial artists, and that quite a few others have mastered the basics of Thunderclap Fist. He says they don't stand a chance. However, Su-hong says that he has only been away from school for 10 days, and they already broke through to become martial artists. The other guy explains that during these days, the principal drags Senior Chin Tian, who teaches Thunderclap Fist, to give private lessons to the talented students. He says that Chun Shan and Li Tu's vitality broke past 100 a few days ago, and their Thunderclap Fist can already echo 3 times. One of them confidently declares that this time he wants to let everyone know who the real number 1 genius is. Another coldly responds that when he beats him down, he hopes he can still be that confident. Meanwhile, near the stage, someone walks up to the principal and asks Oldly if he still hasn't found that genius who used the 9 Echo Thunderclap Fist. The principal replies that he has searched everywhere recently and doesn't think that person is even a student at number 1 high. Just as the other man looks disappointed and a few more people gather, someone arrives and greets the principal in a teasing tone, asking why he looks like his wife ran away. The principal immediately recognizes him and asks Jiang Ming what he's doing at his school. Jiang Ming casually says that his old comrade's student quality this year doesn't seem very good, and that he has brought 2 disciples with him. He suggests that after the monthly exam ends, the first-place student from number 1 high can spar with his disciples. The principal immediately realizes that Jiang Ming is clearly here to embarrass him. But if he refuses, wouldn't that mean admitting that the entire school doesn't have a single capable talent? Jiang Ming presses further and says that if the principal refuses, it just proves that the school's student quality really is poor, though he says he can understand. Someone nearby angrily accuses him of deliberately looking for trouble. At that moment, one of Jiang Ming's disciples suddenly says that this is bad and points toward Su-hong. Jiang Ming follows his gaze and recognizes him immediately. He realizes that the little monster he saw before is actually from high number 1. Jiang Ming quickly calculates the situation in his mind. If Li Yan or Li Ming end up facing Su-hong, they will definitely lose. Rather than losing face publicly, he abruptly changes his tone. He laughs and tells Old Li and Old Chun not to be angry, saying he was just joking and that there's no need to compete. He calls his own disciples trash and says they could never compare to the students here. Even his 2 disciples immediately agree and say they admit defeat. The principal and the others are left stunned. In their hearts, they feel both shocked and frustrated, thinking that Jiang Ming's words sound humble on the surface but are dripping with sarcasm. Then the announcement rings out that number 665 Chin Peng and number 666 Su-hong's match is starting. Immediately, the crowd begins cheering. A friend tells Su-hong that his first opponent is a quasi-martial artist and says he's really unlucky. Another person advises him that he can try to fight but shouldn't force it because getting injured isn't worth it. Chun Peng looks at Su-hong and asks if he's going to step down on his own. Su-hong stands there calmly for a second, then moves forward and asks if he should beat him down instead. Before Chun Peng can even react properly, Su-hong throws a clean punch. Chun Peng is instantly knocked down on the ring. The entire crowd goes silent in shock. His friends stare in disbelief and wonder since when Su-hong became so fierce. Others can't believe it either. They say he just insta-killed a quasi-martial artist in 1 move and call it completely insane. The crowd becomes even more excited. One of them shouts that Su-hong won again and wonders how he's so strong. Another starts guessing that maybe he's already a rank 1 martial artist. Someone else announces that the next match will be the finals. The teacher watching from the side, along with the principal, is also shocked. The teacher asks where this Su-hong came from and why he wasn't present during the private lessons. He wonders how Su-hong never showed up when he was personally training the talented students. The principal sighs and says this is a failure on his part. He wonders how he could have missed such a promising prospect and regrets not prioritizing Su-hong's training earlier, feeling like he let such talent go to waste. Meanwhile, another master nearby says he feels like he has seen this kid somewhere before but just can't remember where. Just then, the principal is startled again as the announcer declares that the semi-final match between Chun Shan and Li Tu is nearing its end. The announcer says they are evenly matched and that it's hard to predict who will win because they are fighting fiercely. Chun Shan shouts that they are both at the 3 echo stage of Thunderclap Fist and tells Li Tu that if he doesn't use his trump card, he can forget about winning. Li Tu, though visibly tired, channels aura into his fist and tells Chun Shan to watch closely because he is the true number 1 in this school. The audience watches with bated breath. Someone suddenly shouts that Chun Shan is using attribute projection and can already release his attribute externally. Another comments that it's the fire attribute, which ranks second only to thunder in raw destructive power. As the battle intensifies, Li Tu responds that attribute projection isn't anything special and asks who said he couldn't do it too. The crowd erupts again when they realize Li Tu can also use attribute projection. Another voice points out that Li Tu's attribute is metal, which has even greater combat power than fire. Li Tu then launches forward with a flurry of punches. Chun Shan suddenly unleashes the 5 Echo Thunderclap Fist. The explosive impact overwhelms Li Tu all at once. The principal exclaims that it's the 5 Echo Thunderclap Fist and realizes that Li Tu had been hiding his true strength. A master beside him remarks that in just over 10 days, Li Tu not only mastered attribute projection but also pushed his Thunderclap Fist into the precise stage, calling his talent extremely impressive. The principal sighs and says there's no need to even watch the finals. With a precise stage Thunderclap Fist and the metal attribute, he believes Su Hong doesn't stand a chance against Li Tu. The master sighs and says it's a pity. He explains that if Su Hong knew a guidance technique and Thunderclap Fist, he might actually have had a fighting chance. Jiang Ming suddenly laughs and says he'll bet 50,000 that Su Hong takes first place, asking Old Li and Old Chen if they're in. The principal immediately asks if he's crazy. He admits that Su Hong is good, but says he doesn't even know any guidance techniques, so how could he possibly win? The master shrugs and says that if Jiang Ming is handing out free money, then he's in too. Soon, the announcement rings out that the final match between number 01 Li Tu and number 666 Su Hong is beginning. The crowd erupts. Someone cheers for Su Hong to take the championship. Another shouts for Li Tu to stay sharp and not embarrass himself. Li Tu steps forward confidently and says Su Hong is lucky he didn't run into him or Chun Shan earlier, otherwise he would never have made it to the finals. He claims Su Hong basically sneaked his way in. Su Hong remains calm as he takes his stance. In his mind, he thinks that after hunting so many ferocious beasts, none of these students felt worth paying attention to until now. Li Tu then smirks and says that since Su Hong made it to the finals, he can at least call himself second best in the school. Su Hong calmly asks who the first is. Li Tu immediately replies that the first is obviously him. He gathers his aura, forming chains of energy around his arms, and rushes forward. He declares that he only needs one move to make Su Hong understand the gap between them. The audience grows tense. Someone shouts that Li Tu is using the 5 Echo Thunderclap Fist right from the start and asks if he's serious. Another says it's over and that once Thunderclap Fist is unleashed, there's no fight left and Su Hong is finished. But Su Hong calmly gathers his own aura. As Li Tu charges in confidently, thinking victory is certain, Su Hong quietly decides this is the perfect timing to test the limits of his physical body. Just as the punch is about to land, the crowd gasps. Someone shouts that Su Hong is crazy because he isn't dodging and is actually raising his fist to meet it head-on. Another yells for the referee to save him quickly. Then, in the next instant, fists collide again and again. Both of them unleash a flurry of punches at each other. Li Tu's expression changes. In his mind, he realizes that Su Hong neutralized his 5 Echo Thunderclap Fist with 5 instant punches of his own. For the first time, fear begins to creep into his heart. Li Tu still refuses to believe it. He tells himself it must have been a fluke. So he attacks again, throwing punch after punch, but the same thing happens every time. Now Li Tu starts to panic. He thinks that this guy might actually be a monster because every single punch feels unbelievably heavy. The crowd is in complete disbelief. One person shouts that Su Hong isn't even using any martial arts techniques, yet he's going toe-to-toe with Li Tu's 5 Echo Thunderclap Fist. Another says Su Hong's raw power is absolutely terrifying. The master narrows his eyes and says Su Hong must have some kind of special physique, otherwise his strength wouldn't be this exaggerated. The principal bursts out laughing and proudly declares that his school actually produced a genius with a special physique. But the master shakes his head and points out that while Su Hong's strength is incredible, Li Tu has already condensed an attribute, and Su Hong still doesn't have that advantage. As the fight drags on, Li Tu becomes increasingly frustrated. He shouts at Su Hong not to get cocky and insists that the winner can only be him. Then he gathers his strength again and launches another furious barrage, yelling for Su Hong to go down. Su Hong watches calmly and thinks that he originally wanted to test how far he could go using just his physical body, but since Li Tu is already going all out, there's no need to hold back anymore. He gathers his aura and says that since Li Tu is giving it everything, he'll show proper respect in return. As he rushes forward, fiery aura begins to swirl around his hand. But when Li Tu looks closely, he notices something else mixed within it. He sees thunder. Shocked, he asks if Su Hong can use attribute projection too. The master is stunned and can barely speak. The principal shouts in disbelief that it's the thunder attribute and that Su Hong has mastered the thunder guidance technique. The master adds that a special physique combined with the thunder attribute, which has the highest offensive power, makes Su Hong's talent absolutely terrifying. When their fists collide again, the difference becomes obvious. Li Tu immediately feels the pressure and realizes that Su Hong's thunder attribute is even stronger than his own metal attribute. Su Hong calmly tells him that since he has already revealed his trump card, it's only fair to reveal his own. He gathers even more power. His eyes begin glowing, and he throws another devastating punch. In that instant, Li Tu senses something unbelievable. He feels the echoes stacking up and realizes there are 9 of them. He can't comprehend how that's even possible. The next second, he is knocked flat onto the ground. Su Hong stands there triumphantly. The entire crowd falls silent, unable to process what they just witnessed. The silence lasts only a second before the entire crowd erupts. Someone shouts that there's no way Su Hong actually won. Another yells that it was the 9 Echo Thunderclap fist at the perfection stage and asks if this is even real. Someone else says it's insane and that Su Hong's thunderclap fist looks even fiercer than the teacher who teaches it. The master mutters that 9 Echo means he must be the genius who disappeared from school that day. The principal's eyes shine with excitement as he declares that Su Hong isn't just a genius. He's the true dragon of Star City High #1. The master watches Su Hong closely and says that when a monster like him enters the training camp, he wonders how crushed those so-called geniuses with powerful backgrounds will feel. He repeats that someone like Su Hong doesn't belong in a small place. Gold scales aren't meant for a pond. When wind and clouds gather, they transform into dragons. He continues staring at Su Hong and says that for someone like him, Star City is nothing more than a small puddle. The principal nods firmly and says that in the training camp, Su Hong will surely rise like a dragon emerging from the abyss and soar into the heavens. He adds that the Magic City, the Imperial Capital, and even the All Heavens battlefield are the true stages where a monster like Su Hong belongs. Back at home, Su Hong calls out that he's back. His uncle happily comes over and says little Hong is back, then asks how the exam went today. Su Hong grins and says he got first place. His uncle freezes for a second, then his face fills with pride. He repeats that it was first place, first in the monthly exam. He excitedly asks if that means little Hong can go to the training camp he mentioned before. Su Hong nods. Just then, someone knocks on the door. A woman outside keeps knocking and asks if this is Su Hong's house. After opening the door, Su Hong asks who she is. The woman introduces herself as Lin Nian's parent from his school. She explains that the top 3 students in the monthly exam get to enter the training camp, and her son ranked 4th. She says she wants to discuss Su Hong giving up his spot. She offers 30,000 yuan in exchange and shows the money in her hands. Su Hong and his family are stunned and confused. Suddenly, the woman raises her voice and says the training camp was established to nurture geniuses for the All Heavens battlefield. She warns that the competition there is cruel and that people can die. She says everyone inside consumes high-grade elixirs like crazy and practices high-rank martial arts as if it's nothing. She adds that with Su Hong's family conditions, giving up early would be better for him. Hearing this, Su Hong's aunt becomes worried and asks if what the woman says is true and whether it's really that dangerous. His uncle tells her to calm down and then looks at Su Hong, asking if he can guarantee his safety. Su Hong answers that he can. The woman scoffs and asks if they really believe a child's guarantee. His uncle firmly replies that of course he believes him. He says going to the genius training camp is Su Hong's own decision, and he's grown up now. He says he trusts him to keep his promise. He adds that if he can't trust his own family, then who is he supposed to trust. The woman becomes angry and tries to argue, but his uncle simply tells her to leave and shuts the door. As she walks away, she mutters that they'll regret it and that Su-hong will just get eliminated from the training camp anyway. Inside the house, Su-hong apologizes and says he didn't mean to hide the danger from them. His uncle tells him it's fine. He says he's just a rough man, and Su-hong is more educated and understands the training camp better. He tells him that since he has the resolve to face hardship, the family will support him no matter what. Auntie looks confused and asks what he's talking about. The uncle, who was a bit worried just a moment ago, tries to stay calm. Then Auntie gently tells little Hong that they don't care about rankings and only want him to stay safe. Later that night, Su-hong stands alone on a high building, looking over the city lights. He thinks that even though his uncle and aunt support him, they must still be secretly worried. He tells himself he absolutely cannot let them down. To protect this hard-earned life, he must become stronger. He recalls that he fought over a dozen matches in the monthly exam and earned a total of 285 martial points. He thinks that isn't nearly enough, especially since he has no idea what kind of high-level martial skills or trump cards the geniuses in the training camp might have. He checks his status and sees mortal frame at 36.1%. He decides that to compete with them, he should prioritize upgrading his physical combat power. He begins increasing mortal frame by 0.1 again and again. Eventually, mortal frame reaches 64.6%. However, Su-hong feels extremely tired. He calculates that he is still 35.4% away from 100% and wonders what special phase might come after mortal frame is fully completed. Then he suddenly notices something unexpected. He wonders when Thunder Guidance Technique and Heavenly Flame Guidance Technique reached level 2. He checks his status window again and confirms that both techniques are now level 2. He thinks that he only cultivated the guidance techniques for a few days and didn't do anything special. He wonders if they level up naturally just through normal cultivation without extra conditions. If that's the case, he decides he should try to raise them another level. The next morning at dawn, as the sun rises beautifully, Su-hong is still meditating. Notifications appear stating that Thunder Guidance Technique has reached level 3, and Heavenly Flame Guidance Technique has also reached level 3. Su-hong realizes that not only did the guidance techniques level up, but his vitality also increased by 3 points. He calls it an unexpected gain. As he prepares to leave for the training camp, his aunt reminds him to stay safe, and says that if he can't handle it, he should just come home. His uncle quickly tells her not to say such discouraging things. He encourages Su-hong to go to the training camp and bring back another first-place finish. Su-hong says that he's leaving now. As he walks out, the uncle tries to calm the aunt. The aunt says that he talks big, but isn't he just as worried inside? The uncle's eyes are already red. He admits that he is worried too, but says he just didn't want little Wong to feel any pressure. Meanwhile, Wong continues walking down the street. A car suddenly stops beside him, and the window rolls down. President Wu calls out for him to stop and get in. Inside the car, Su-hong asks if she needed him for something. President Wu says she wants to remind him of a few things about the Genius Training Camp. As the president of the Star City Martial Arts Association, she knows some information about the participants there. She explains that among the martial artists in this batch, there are a few real monsters who are already rank 1 high stage and not far from breaking through to rank 2. She adds that those monsters have mastered at least Class B martial skills. After hearing this, Su-hong thinks that rank 2 requires 200 vitality, so it's shocking that people in his batch are already that close. Still, he tells himself he's not afraid of Class B martial skills. With his system space, he can learn even Class B techniques quickly. President Wu then says that Su-hong's talent is the strongest she has ever seen, without exception. However, she reminds him that he doesn't have the same resources those big background geniuses have. So even if he faces setbacks in the training camp, he shouldn't let it affect his mindset. With his talent, surpassing them is only a matter of time. Su-hong says he understands and thanks her. President Wu silently observes him and thinks that even knowing his vitality and martial skills are currently inferior to others, he remains calm and steady. She concludes that she doesn't need to worry about his mindset holding him back. At the Tianlin mountain range, a large vehicle drives along a winding road beside towering mountains. Inside the car are the top 3 candidates along with the principal. One of the other candidates exclaims in shock that the training camp is actually in the Tianlin mountain range, the place where ferocious beasts gather. The principal reassures them and says not to worry too much. He explains that a grandmaster oversees the training camp, so under normal circumstances, there won't be any life-threatening danger. After hearing this, Su-hong reflects silently. He knows that the Tianlin mountain range is a massive stretch of mountains spanning multiple cities, including Star City and Yang City. The spiritual energy there is extremely dense, and ferocious beasts are everywhere. There are even beast kings inside comparable to Tier 7 grandmasters. The competition among ferocious beasts in this place is unbelievably cruel. Even a Tier 1 ferocious beast on the outer edges of the mountain range is far more savage than beasts elsewhere. Ordinary Tier 2 martial artists wouldn't dare step into this place casually. As the car speeds through the area, shadows shift among the trees. Many beasts watch from the darkness, their gazes locked onto the vehicle, as if they are observing another massive creature passing through their territory. The other candidates grow nervous. One says he feels like something is staring at them. Another wonders whether a ferocious beast might suddenly attack. Su Hong, however, remains calm. In his heart, he thinks that the competition inside the training camp will probably be just like the slaughter among these ferocious beasts. Brutal and unforgiving. Strangely, he realizes he's starting to like this feeling. Soon, the car arrives at the camp. Many people are already gathered outside. The candidates step out and look around. One of them whispers, wondering how strong the other participants must be. As soon as they walk forward, countless intense gazes fall upon them. The pressure is immediate. The other candidates fall silent under the stairs. Su Hong, however, simply smiles calmly and says they should go. The others nod and follow. Before they can proceed further, a staff member stops them and tells them to wait until everyone arrives. Then someone mentions that the camp entrance assessment is about to begin. Su Hong is surprised and asks if there's even an entrance assessment. At that moment, someone says that they've arrived. Another mutters sarcastically that big families are amazing, making everyone else wait for them. A convoy of cars pulls in and stops. Several people step out confidently. One of them looks around and asks if this is the place. A voice in the crowd suddenly shouts that Goddess Yao Nen looks so cool and beautiful, adding that spirit masters are truly enviable. Another person agrees and says she's in a league of her own. Someone else points toward another figure and says it's Lin Xingji from the Lin family. They mention that he's almost Tier 2 already and say he's way too flashy. Another group begins moving forward confidently. The crowd whispers again, saying the city lord's son, barbarian god Wang Tiantuo, is here as well. They say his fire attribute compatibility is 95% and that he also possesses a special physique. As these prominent figures walk past and stop near Su Hong, he observes them calmly. In his heart, he wonders if the three leading the group are the top geniuses President Wu mentioned. He thinks he would like to see just how genius they truly are. Soon, a staff member steps forward and announces that everyone has arrived. He begins explaining the rules for the camp entrance assessment. He says that the training camp lies 30 kilometers deep inside the Tianlin mountain range. Tokens have been placed inside the bodies of certain ferocious beasts, and only those who obtain a token will be allowed to enter the camp. One of the candidates mutters that walking 30 kilometers in a day doesn't sound too bad. However, others quickly point out that this isn't an ordinary road. This is the Tianlin mountain range. Once they go deep into the mountains, no one knows what level of ferocious beasts they might encounter. If something goes wrong, people could lose their lives. Su Hong, on the other hand, thinks calmly that they just need to arrive within 8 hours, which sounds simple enough. He even thinks that if he moves efficiently, he'll have extra time to hunt a few more ferocious beasts and earn additional martial value. Another candidate nervously asks what happens if they encounter ferocious beasts far stronger than themselves. The staff member replies bluntly that if that happens, they can consider themselves unlucky and eliminated, though someone will come rescue them before they actually die. Some of the candidates complain that it's unfair. Others argue that this system relies too much on luck, and that the strong might get eliminated while the weak pass purely by chance. The staff member remains silent for a moment before another instructor steps forward and speaks firmly. He says this world isn't a game. They might cultivate bitterly for over 10 years, only to be casually killed by a passing expert the moment they step onto the all-heavens battlefield. He asks whether they would complain about fairness then too. He explains that if they want to avoid high-tier ferocious beasts, they should act cautiously, avoiding risk, using strength to bully the weak, fighting with numbers against fewer opponents. These are all part of battlefield survival. Those are the real rules of the world. Another voice suddenly shouts that the instructor is right and says if anyone is afraid of death, they should quit now now instead of wasting everyone's time. He calls them trash for being scared of this and that all day. Hearing this, another candidate gets furious and demands that he repeat what he just said. The first guy sneers and calls him a coward and trash again. He tells him that if he's not convinced, he can make a move and see how easily he'll be taken down. The staff member steps in and reminds everyone that violence is prohibited inside the camp. However, once they enter the mountains, the instructors won't interfere. Whether it's snatching tokens or beating someone up because they don't like their face, that will be their own business. The atmosphere instantly turns tense. Rivalries spark on the spot. Su Hong watches all of this quietly and thinks that the training camp is truly cruel. It's practically encouraging them to fight each other. Under such rules, more than half the participants will probably be eliminated. He also realizes that if he fights these people, he could likely gain a lot of martial value. The staff member checks his device, which starts beeping, and then loudly announces that the assessment has begun. He orders everyone to move out. The candidates immediately rush forward. Some shout for everyone to charge. Others yell that they must pass. Someone complains about being pushed and tells others to get out of the way. As they reach the mountains and forests, chaos breaks out almost instantly. One candidate points at another and threatens to send him rolling back home right now. The other retorts that if he wants to be eliminated this early, he'll gladly oblige. The first guy gathers aura into his fist and declares that the other is dead. The second responds by forming icy aura around his own fist. Their fists collide, and they unleash a rapid flurry of punches at each other. Watching from nearby, Su Hong evaluates the situation calmly. He originally wanted to use this chance to gauge the strength of these so-called geniuses, but now he feels they are far less impressive than the rumors suggested. Even if he defeats them, he doubts he would gain much martial value. He decides it would be better to hurry ahead and hunt higher-level ferocious beasts instead. Meanwhile, the Icy Aura fighter mocks his opponent, saying a pauper will always be a pauper, and that no matter how hard someone cultivates, they can't compare to a family's generations of accumulated resources. The other guy struggles angrily and tells him to shut up, insisting he shouldn't be compared to a bunch of working-class paupers. The insults escalate, with one side belittling hard cultivation and repeating the word pauper again and again as the clash between background and personal effort becomes as fierce as their punches. All around them, the word pauper keeps echoing again and again. Su Hong can't believe how childish and idiotic this argument is. He calmly says that it looks like he can't let this delivered martial value slip away. He then steps forward and tells them to stop fighting and play with him instead. Both of them pause and stare at him. The Icy Aura guy scoffs and tells him to get lost, saying another pauper just showed up and warning him to be careful or he'll beat him too. The other guy glares at Su Hong and asks what level he thinks he is to dare interfere in their fight. Su Hong calmly replies that they misunderstood him. What he meant was that they should stop fighting each other and join forces to fight him instead. The moment those words leave his mouth, one of them explodes in anger and charges forward, shouting that Su Hong dares to look down on him and must have a death wish. Su Hong moves instantly. With a swift step and a powerful kick, he strikes the charging opponent hard. The guy feels as if his entire life flashes before his eyes as he's sent flying through the air with just that one kick. The Icy Aura fighter freezes in disbelief. In his mind, he can't understand how someone with similar strength to him just lost in a single move. He looks at Su Hong, who is already adjusting his stance, ready for the next exchange. He thinks about how fast that footwork was. Su Hong calmly tells him that now it's his turn. The Icy Aura guy feels fear creeping in, but it's too late. Su Hong moves again and lands a clean strike to his face, sending him flying as well. This is just the beginning. Many more will be sent flying like this. To not miss it, subscribe right now and turn on all the notifications.